Every year, people spend hundreds on so-called emergency food, and, honestly, still end up buying the wrong things. Not because they're careless or anything like that, but because nobody really tells them the truth about what actually works, especially when it comes to canned meat. Some options are incredibly efficient, high in calories, long-lasting and easy to use. Others, well, they look good on the shelf, but give you almost nothing when it actually matters. Low protein, too much water filled with additives. And in a real situation, that matters more than you might think. Because when food is limited, you don't just need something to eat, you need something that actually sustains you. So today, we're going through 10 canned meats that are genuinely worth stocking, and 4 that you're better off leaving behind. And hey, pay attention to number 7, because it's one of the most overlooked foods that can quietly carry your entire pantry. Let's start with something simple. Canned chicken. This is honestly one of the most practical options you can buy. It's lean, it's clean, and it works with almost anything. You can eat it straight from the can, mix it into rice, or turn it into a full meal in just minutes, and that's really the key: versatility, because in a limited setup you don't want foods that only work one way, you want foods that adapt. The only mistake people make here is buying low-quality versions packed in way too much liquid. When you open the can, half of it just disappears. So, always go for solid packed meat when possible. Next is tuna. And, this is where most people think they already know everything, but they don't, because tuna comes in 2 very different forms: water-packed and oil-packed. Water-packed is lighter, while oil-packed is higher in calories, and that difference matters more than people realize. If you're just looking for a quick meal, water-packed is fine, but if you're thinking long-term, oil-packed tuna gives you more energy per can, which means fewer cans needed overall, same storage space, more value. Now let's talk about something people either love or, well, completely ignore. Spam, or, any type of canned luncheon meat. This isn't about taste, honestly, this is about efficiency. Spam is high in fat, high in calories, and, extremely shelf-stable, which makes it one of the most energy-dense canned foods you can store. And in a situation where food is limited, calories matter more than variety. A small portion can really go a long way. You can fry it, mix it, or just eat it as it is. It's not glamorous, but it works. Next is corned beef. And yeah, this one is powerful for a different reason. Density. When you open a can of corned beef, you're not getting fluff. You're getting compact, heavy food that actually fills you up. It's salty, sure, but that salt also helps preserve it longer. And when you combine it with something simple like rice or bread, it becomes a complete, satisfying meal. Now here's one people often underestimate: sardines. Small cans, big value. They're packed with protein, healthy fats, and nutrients, and because they're stored in oil or water, they last a long time without losing quality. But the real advantage: you don't need to prepare anything. Open, eat, done, no heat, no effort, and that's exactly the kind of food you want in certain situations. Next is canned salmon. Think of this as the more premium version of tuna: higher quality protein, better fats, more filling. Yes, it costs more, but you don't need as much of it to feel satisfied, which makes it a smart addition to a balanced stockpile. Not everything needs to be cheap. Some things need to be effective. Now this is where things get interesting. Canned roast beef or stew beef. This is one of the closest things to a real meal you'll find in a can. Chunks of meat, sometimes in broth, sometimes with seasoning, and when you open it, it actually feels like food, not just an ingredient. And that psychological difference matters more than people think, because eating the same basic items over and over can wear you down. Having something that feels like a proper meal changes that completely. Now let's talk about number 7. Canned turkey. But not just any turkey. High-quality canned turkey. Because this one is tricky. Good versions are excellent, lean, high-protein, easy to use. Bad versions, dry, bland, and almost useless. So this is one where quality matters more than the item itself. If you choose right, it's a great addition. If you don't, it's a waste of space. Next is something most people don't even consider: canned bacon. It exists, and honestly, It's incredibly valuable, because fat is one of the hardest things to store long-term. Protein is easy, carbs are easy, but fat, that's where most people fall short. And canned bacon solves that problem. It's high in calories, ready to eat, and adds flavor to almost anything. Even a small amount can totally transform a basic meal. Now, number 9, canned ham. This one depends heavily on quality. Good canned ham is solid, it's decent protein, good calories, and honestly, pretty versatile. But lower quality versions are filled with water and additives. So, the key here is simple: read what you're buying. Because really the difference between a good can and a bad one is massive. Finally, number 10, canned meat spreads or pâté. This might seem like a small addition, but it serves a unique purpose. It's easy to eat, easy to spread, and doesn't require preparation, which makes it perfect for quick meals, especially when paired with crackers or bread. Now let's flip this, because just as important as what you should buy is what you should avoid. First, low-quality canned turkey. We mentioned this earlier, and it deserves to be repeated, because honestly, this is one of the most disappointing purchases people make. It looks good on the label, but when you open it, it's dry, low in flavor, and not filling. It's just not worth the space. Next, ham with added fillers. This is where things get misleading, because the can looks full, but a large part of it is water, starch, or additives. You think you're getting value, but you're not. You're getting less actual food. Third, ultra-processed meat mixes. These are the cans where you can't clearly tell what you're eating, multiple ingredients, unclear ratios, and usually lower quality meat overall. They might seem convenient, but they rarely deliver real value. And finally, gourmet canned meats. These are the expensive options. Small portions, fancy labels, but not practical. You're paying more for less food. And when storage matters, that trade-off doesn't make sense. So what's the real takeaway here? It's not just about stocking food, it's about stocking the right kind of food. Food that gives you real calories, real protein, real flexibility. Because when you simplify it, that's all that matters. Not branding, not trends, just value. And once you start thinking like this, you'll notice something. Most people aren't underprepared because they don't have food. They're underprepared because they have the wrong food. And that's exactly what we're fixing here.